What if the exhaustion, the striving, the endless reaching was never proof that heaven was distant at all?
For years, Alicia had mistaken silence for separation. Every unanswered prayer felt like another closed door. Every quiet moment felt like standing outside something everyone else seemed able to enter. And without realizing it, she had begun to believe that God was always somewhere beyond her reach. Alicia sat alone at her kitchen table as pale morning light stretched across the wood. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago. The silence in the room felt familiar now. Not peaceful, just familiar.
I don't even know how to say it anymore. It's not that I've stopped believing. I'm just tired.
Her eyes drifted toward the window. Birds moved quietly through the oak tree outside.
I keep praying. I keep reaching. And no matter how hard I try, it still feels like God is somewhere beyond me. Like everyone else knows how to get close. And I missed something.
Her hands rested against the table, tense without realizing it.
Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe other people feel him because they know how to surrender the right way, or believe the right way. And maybe I never learned how.
That afternoon, Alicia met her friend April at a quiet cafe near the park. The low hum of conversation settled around them.
You look tired. Have you been sleeping?
I'm okay, just thinking a lot, praying a lot.
That's a good thing though, right?
I thought so. But the more I try, the more it feels like I'm standing outside something that never opens.
Maybe you just haven't broken through yet. Have you thought about going to that retreat up in the mountains? People say God's presence is really powerful there. Or maybe fasting for a few days. Sometimes you have to press in a little harder before something shifts.
I've tried that. I've tried pushing harder, praying longer, waiting longer. I honestly don't know what else to do at this point.
Then maybe it's just not time yet. Maybe God's preparing you for something bigger. And when it finally happens, all of this will make sense.
Alicia nodded, but the words didn't comfort her. They settled on her shoulders like more weight to carry.
Don't give up, okay? The door will open. You just have to keep knocking.
Alicia managed a small smile, but something in her chest tightened. Because if the door was eventually going to open, why did she already feel so exhausted trying to reach it? That evening, Alicia knelt beside her bed. The room was quiet. The curtains shifted softly in the breeze.
I'm going to try again. Really try this time.
She closed her eyes and folded her hands tightly together.
Please, I'm here. I've been here this whole time. If there's something I'm missing, show me. If there's a door I still haven't found, lead me to it.
She waited. The silence stretched across the room. A car passed outside. The clock on the wall kept ticking.
Why does it feel like I'm reaching for something that never reaches back?
Slowly, Alicia opened her eyes. The room hadn't changed. The stillness was the same. And somehow, the ache in her chest felt even heavier than before. The next morning, Alicia's uncle Matthew stopped by. He was a quiet man, thoughtful and unhurried. He had a way of listening that made the whole room feel calmer.
You look like you're carrying something heavy.
I'm just tired.
Tired from what?
From trying, from praying, from reaching for something that never seems to reach back.
Matthew sat across from her and waited quietly.
I've been faithful. I've been patient. but it feels like I've spent my whole life standing outside a door that never opens. Other people talk about God like he's close, like they can feel him. For me, it's always somewhere beyond me, somewhere I can't quite get to.
That sounds exhausting.
It is.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
When you pray, where do you imagine God is?
Alicia hesitated for a long moment.
Out there, beyond me, above me, somewhere I'm trying to reach.
And when you reach, what happens?
I strain, I wait, I keep hoping something will finally reach back, but nothing ever does.
What if it already has?
Alicia frowned slightly.
I don't know what that means.
What if the exhaustion you feel isn't coming from God being far away? What if it's coming from believing you were separated from Him in the first place?
Alicia sat quietly, her hands still resting against the table.
What if what you've been reaching for was never far at all?
That doesn't make sense. If God were close, I'd feel it. There'd be something, a sign, a warmth, anything.
Would there?
I don't know. I guess I've always thought presence would feel like something arriving, like something finally coming toward me.
What if it doesn't arrive because it never left?
Alicia's hands slowly stilled against the table.
There's a verse I come back to a lot, Luke 17:21. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you."
I've heard that before, but I've never known what to do with it. All I've ever felt is the reaching.
Maybe you've spent so long looking outward for God that you never noticed what was already here. Maybe what you've been calling silence was never absence at all.
That sounds comforting, but how do I believe it when all I've ever known is distance?
You don't have to force yourself to believe anything. You only have to stop running long enough to notice what's already present.
I have stopped. I've waited.
Have you been waiting while still reaching, still straining, still believing you were outside something?
Alicia opened her mouth to answer, then paused.
What if you were never outside the door at all?
That night, Alicia sat alone again. The house was quiet. Rain tapped softly against the window. The familiar ache returned, and with it, the old reflex.
I should try again. Maybe I just need to pray harder, reach a little further.
Her hands slowly started to lift, then stopped.
What if I'm not outside anything? What if I never was?
Slowly, she lowered her hands again. The rain kept falling. The room stayed still. And this time, she didn't reach. Alicia didn't move. She didn't speak. She let the silence be silence. She let her breathing slow. She stopped trying to force the moment into becoming something else. And in that stillness, something quietly shifted.
I've spent so much time reaching outward. I never noticed what was already here.
Rain tapped softly against the window. The room felt warm. Her hands rested open in her lap for the first time all day.
It was never distance. I just kept running past the presence that had been with me the whole time.
A tear slipped quietly down her cheek, not from sadness, but from recognition.
You were never far. I just didn't know how to stop reaching long enough to notice.
Nothing new had arrived. She had simply become still enough to recognize what had never left. As Psalm 46:10 reminds us, "Be still and know that I am God." And as Luke 17:21 reveals, "The kingdom of God is within you." Alicia had spent years waiting for heaven to come closer, never realizing she had never been abandoned at all. What she called silence was not distance. It was presence, quietly waiting to be noticed.
I kept waiting for God to come closer, but He was never far. I was the one exhausting myself, trying to reach what had already been with me the whole time.
And this is the pearl. The door that you thought was closed was always open. And if you've ever wondered whether distance, failure, regret, or even your own mistakes could separate you from the love of God, continue with the next Illumined Pearl in this awakening arc. Sometimes the bridges we believe are broken are not truly beyond healing after all.